cannot protect against that run.
Oh, Kurt Busch around off the bumper of Blaney.
Truex not able to avoid this one. Or Bowman.
Oh, Bowman's got it. Benedetto, Stenhouse, a bunch of them.
DiBenedetto all torn up.
Hamlin put a block on the 41.
Yeah, that's stalled out the 41. The 12's right in that area, that left rear that turns him around.
Yep.
And collects half the field.
It was on from there.
It has become the war of attrition 500.
Crash. Well, Rusty got through it. Here we go.
Harvick slides up in front of traffic.
Cars upside down, cars everywhere. Come on.
And turn 4 is calamity corner once again. The field is frozen. Jeff Gordon came across with Stewart and Johnson side by side, but there are half a dozen cars littered between turn 3 and the start finish line.
He's all right.
Last year's third place finisher Scott Wimmer, the 29 of Kevin Harvick, 42. The 42 of Jamie McMurray.
One of these cars was just standing up on its nose, swimming, spinning around like a water spout.
Greg Biffle. Jeff Burton had lost an engine prior to this. He coasts onto pit road. And here's Harvick's car, the backup car, damaged, looking a lot like Thursday's car.
But guys, we could see this coming and smell this coming for about 3 or 4 laps.
Here's how it unfolded between turns 3 and 4.
Because something happened to Greg Biffle, the 16 car that triggered all this.
I believe, watch it and see if it's Harvick's car. Oh, no, it's the 22 car.
Scott Wimmer.
Look at him just spinning around. He got up on his nose and come back down on his wheels. Boy, that 04 turn, she's mean, boys.
Watch the 22 of Scott Wimmer, the yellow car, take a wild ride here.
What started at Greg Biffle came down in the 10, or the 10 went up to Greg Biffle. They got together anyhow.
The luckiest man there was Rusty Wallace. Got a little tap, but kept on going.
Now watch Wimmer. Over once, twice, 3 on his nose, 4, wham.
Huge.
So initial contact, the 10 and the 16, right there.
Looked like Biffle in the 16 actually came down in the Scott Riggs in the 10. And Darrell, when you're flipping like that, it probably seems like eternity, don't it?
Oh, listen, I can't tell you what it does to you. You just pray that when you stop that you can remember what happened.
I think Scott Wimmer will remember this one for a long time. Pit stops.
Here comes Kyle Busch with a push from Bowyer on the inside.
Oh,
no,
Benedetto! And everybody.
Good.
Oh,
no. Are you kidding me? This is big. Wow. But it.
Boy, it just reminds me of the Clash. Same type of carnage that we saw where these cars were going everywhere. A lot of damage as they all got to turn 3.
Well, that ruined everything.
I mean, sometimes I'm speechless. I'm speechless.
You know, there's just those feel-good stories that build in a race. And, boy, Matt DiBenedetto was doing such an amazing job.
Oh, man, I tell you.
Yeah, Paul Menard giving a pretty nice push down the back straightaway to DiBenedetto. Gets to his right rear. Oh, yeah, that just starts to turn him a little bit.
Got him in the right rear.
And then he collects Menard.
Yeah.
Logano just misses it, but the whole outside lane and half the inside pile up.
And this is exactly what we were just talking about. At this stage in the race, you can start to taste victory in the Daytona 500. You want to see that checkered flag, and you'll do anything to get it, and you know you've got to be more aggressive with those bump drafts.
It looks exactly like the Clash. I mean, all those cars, third turn, all those cars wadded up, sliding up the track with sparks flying. It looked so much like the Clash.
That is the 17th of February, looking way too much like the 4th of July.
Amen.
Fireworks everywhere.
Yeah, and it really and truly, it was Paul Menard. He gave to Benedetto a little shove, but it was on the outside, on the right side, and that just turned the Benedetto into the outside wall, and then it was on from there.
And a different situation than we saw in the clash between Menard and with Jimmy Johnson, but it was a similar thing when we heard the spotter on the 21, Menard say, well, he zigged and we zagged.
And in this case, Menard told his team on the radio, I just bumped him a little too hard.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do? It's the end of the race. You're trying to help that guy. You're trying to help the Benedetto. You're not trying to wreck him, but just bad judgment.
See why.
Here's the 4 got into the back of Ward Burton, I believe.
And then Burton's 22 got into Stewart.
Got into Stewart.
And everybody scrambles.
That car is taking a whale of a ride, that 20 car is. It's getting hit. It's upside down. It's hit on its roof. It's on fire.
And here's another angle.
Coming off a turn 2 where we've said that it's the wind. Somebody got into the back of that car right there.
That's Ward Burton right there.
You saw a puff of tire smoke, and then everything let loose.
I think that's what started. Somebody got in back of Ward Burton off turn 2.
I'm pretty sure the 4 car got into the back of Ward Burton, turned him into the 20 car, and God help all of them because there's no place to go. And you can't see. Here we come off of turn 2 again. Right there. See, Ward Burton got pushed around by that car, and that's the 4 car.
And he got in the back of Tony Stewart. Of course, Tony Stewart going airborne here.
And it was Ward Burton's car being sideways that blocked up the track for everybody behind him.
Boy, and it gets hit by every car in the field, seems like, and Tony Stewart's car just took a whale of a ride.
It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line.
Big crash. Here they come. Checkered flag. Harvick. Kevin Harvick wins the Daytona 500.
We got one car on his roof coming across the start-finish line.
Still wrecking. They're wrecking everywhere. Boyer's on fire. Jeff Gordon's wrecked.
And they
Montoya.
are still wrecking.
Montoya, Stremme, Kenseth, Biffle, Marlin, Carl Edwards, Casey Mears all crashed on the final lap.
No question you were going to have to go the outside. Mark was not going to give up the inside. What happens back here is Kyle Busch gets on the apron ever so slightly, gets into the 17, and it's on from there. Look at the 38 car up on top of somebody. There's a car turning over.
And look at this finish.
And it's a drag race to the line, and we've seen Harvick do that before.
Yes, we have.
It'll come in here from the right in the bottom lane. Clint Boyer gets slid sideways. Whammo.
And he'll cross the start-finish line unofficially upside down in the 18th position.
On fire. I mean, that's Joey Chitwood couldn't do that.
Boyer making a hasty exit through a small window opening. That's one of the things that's going to be addressed by the car of tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just glad he's landed back on his wheels with that fire because he didn't want to be trapped down in there. NASCAR does such a great job. Goodness. That's terrifying.
Sterling Marlin, the 14 car, was spinning down pit road, actually hit the pit wall.
Until now, 1976 and 79 were the wildest Daytona 500 finishes ever. New one for the record book.
And all of those cars are cars that had made green flag stops prior to that caution. Boy, Brian Vickers, Dale Earnhardt Jr., that ain't going to work, boys.
Vickers hard. Here we go. Busch, the dominant car of the day, in the wall.
That was wrong.
And 10 cars sliding
slamming into the infield.
Jimmy Johnson, totally uncalled for. Totally.
I don't care who you are. That was just wrong.
Caution is out. McMurray was a contender. He's all torn up. And the dominant car of the day, that of Kyle Busch, is a victim of this pileup.
The 88 right up there at the front on the inside. Coming off 2 down the back straightaway. Junior gets a good run.
Vickers puts a little block on him. And then you be the judge.
Let's reiterate the rule. You are not allowed to advance your position below the yellow line. If you are forced below the yellow line, you must come back up and blend in.
Vickers puts the block on him, and then Junior just turns right back into the racetrack, right in the left rear, Brian Vickers.
Saw a similar situation like that yesterday in the nationwide race.
Car spinning up into the wall mid-pack. It's Dale Jarrett, one of them. Mark Martin is in it. Elliott Sadler, the rookie, and Carr spin.
See Terry Labonte.
Steve Park is in there, 99.
Jeff Burton, yeah.
Joe Nemechek, 42. Sterling Marlin, number 40. Jeffrey Bodine, former winner.
Boy,
Ward Burton, heavy damage on his Pontiac. Those cars were all running so close together. And Dale Jarrett trying to win his 3rd Daytona 500.
Well, there's Dale Jarrett right there as they head off in the corner. He goes down on the flat part of the racetrack.
He might have had a little bit of a bump from the 28 car, his teammate, as they went in there. At 190 miles an hour, it's almost impossible for the brakes to slow the car to miss the incident. You steer for the hole and hope it's still there when you get there. Boy, that track closed up in a hurry. When one car spun, they're as close as they were running together. They had to get a lot of other cars involved. Add Ricky Rudd. Right there at the start of that replay, was there contact between Jarrett and the 28?
Yeah, it looked like there was just light contact, just enough to turn him down on flat and shoot him right back up in front of oncoming traffic.
Another angle. The cars you're watching, Jarrett's already gone at that point. And just shoots back up across the racetrack right into Terry Labonte. And then other cars, there's Mark Martin in 6th car. There comes Ward Burton in number 22.
Jeffrey Bodine, he was the next to him there.
Robert Presley.
Someone's upside down there.
That was Bodine, I believe, that went on his route. Let's show you Dale Jarrett's view. Well, that showed you which car was upside down.
And prevent Chase Elliott's number 9 from advancing. Big push coming from Elliott and Keselowski. Contact! Elliott slam into the wall.
Are you kidding me?
Danica Patrick, Casey Kane.
Oh, man.
You all right? Yeah, I'm good.
Like the styling and the personal safety system.
And that 5-star safety rating is awesome, but...
Well, how about a test drive?
That's a bunch of them. Oh, my goodness. Bust us out there, Sammy. Back at Daytona, a massive accident down in Turn 1 has claimed at least 15 cars. It started up toward the front of the field. You see the carnage scattered in the corner. Matt Kenseth, Johnny Benson, Ricky Rudd was in it.
And the Kevin Harvick made contact going down in turn 1.
And there we were talking about throwing the block, and that looks like what happened.
And the first 4 or 5 cars get through, and then about the 7th or 8th, I don't know, about wherever the 43 car of Andretti, that was the next car to hit. And after that, there's no place for anyone to go.
That's right, the track just becomes completely blocked.
Take another look. See well, that's kind of a little bit afterwards, but see Harvick slide back up.
How did Ward Burton get through that? Wow.
And all those cars on the inside. And then the hole closed up.
Add Jeremy Mayfield to the list of those involved, the 19 car.
Now look, let's take another look here. Jeff goes down. Kevin Harvick goes to put on the block. Drives down on top of Jeff. Jeff just didn't give.
Or if he tried to get out, he didn't get out in time.
Yeah.
One of the two.
Andretti, a hard lick.
Oh, wow.
You know, same thing happened in the qualifying race between Tony Stewart.
Is that Schrader caught up in it too? Yep, Schrader got a piece of it.
Folks, just watch this and listen as you're part of the big one.
Trouble.
Hey, Greg. Here's the big one. Man.
Well, there goes half the field.
Sure does.
And it's Ryan Newman leading them around. Oh,
Jimmy Johnson's
Johnson.
hopes in his final Daytona 500.
Kurt Busch, another former Daytona 500 winner. Brad Keselowski trying to win it for the first time.
You can see Joey Logano really aggressive to the rear bumper of the 10. He's going to push him all the way up to the 2. And they just, right before the 10 gets there, there's a little bit of movement. And that little bit of movement, when you make that much contact, turns your car right around. That's exactly what happened to Brad Keselowski and the 10 of Almirola.
And that happens right in front of most of the field.
And that really all started with a big push from Joey Logano. Remember Joey Logano talking on the radio earlier about, you got to tell me when I'm pushing that car and it's going to make contact with the car in front of us. Well, that happened right there with his teammate.
Here's our Ford onboard camera with Logano.
You could hear he started to lift, but unfortunately Almirola's car started sort of swaying back and forth right before he made contact with the 2. Hooks his bumper, turns him around.
Oh, he slammed Alex Bowman. And then it's on. And for the second time in less than a handful of years, Eric Almirola ends up being knocked out of a good chance to win the Daytona 500.